Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
Food and water shortages have people living on the edge in Puerto Rico. I'm in Adoba with more on the desperate need for help.
And Republicans in the Senate vow to push forward with the repeal of the Affordable Care Act in spite of losing key votes among their own party. How the GOP might salvage that bill, that's all ahead.
6:30 on this Tuesday. Chet Lehman, Missy O'Malley with you. Matt has our forecast in a moment. Our top story this half hour. Officials are warning of a humanitarian crisis right now in Puerto Rico.
That's right. Now, this comes 1 week after Hurricane Maria battered the island, leaving millions without food, water, and power. CBS's Hannah Doba has more on the recovery efforts now underway.
It's been 6 days and counting, and most of Puerto Rico remains without power after Hurricane Maria flooded streets, smashed poles, and snarled power lines. It could take months before the power is back on, and many here in the U.S. are worried and waiting to hear from loved ones. Melanie Lopez has an uncle in Bayamón.
He's like in his 90s, and he needs an oxygen tank in order to breathe, and his medications, some of them need to be in the fridge.
With roads around the island washed out, bridges and communication lines down, and supplies dwindling, federal agencies are ramping up their response. U.S. sailors and Marines delivered water and food to the San Juan airport yesterday. FEMA says the Department of Defense has evacuated more than 150 patients to the continental U.S. But the Trump administration has come under fire that recovery efforts have fallen short.
Where's the Army? Where is the Army? We're fed up. This is going to be a riot here.
Hundreds of people have been sleeping at the airport in San Juan waiting for a flight. Some did make it out.
Oh my God, it's purely been a miracle, but we'll go back. We'll go back. We got to rebuild.
Last night, President Trump tweeted, writing in part, much of the island was destroyed, with billions of dollars owed to Wall Street and the banks, which sadly must be dealt with. Food, water, and medical are top priorities. And Adoba, CBS News.
Now, $1 billion so far has been earmarked for Puerto Rico's recovery. A lot more to follow on this story as well.
Absolutely true. Meantime, our other top story this morning, the latest Republican-led health care plan might not be dead, but its pulse right now not very strong.
Support for the Graham-Cassidy bill is fading in D.C., and as CNN's John Lawrence reports, the clock is ticking for the GOP.
Republicans are scrambling to win support for a new version of a bill to repeal and replace Obamacare.
This is not a game.
But things don't look healthy for the bill from Republican Senators Lindsey Graham and Bill Cassidy. Among the strikes Democrats are counting against it, a negative report from Standard & Poor's on the bill's expected impacts.
Would result in 580,000 lost jobs and $240 billion in lost economic activity by 2027.
And a lack of support from some prominent members of the GOP. Maine Senator Susan Collins says she'll vote against the bill despite phone calls from both President Trump and Vice President Pence in recent days.
I appreciated their input. It's just at the end, I can't support this bill.
Collins is the third Republican senator to reject Graham-Cassidy after John McCain and Rand Paul. The measure won't pass the Senate if every Democrat and 3 Republicans vote against it.
What the American people want is us to work together to build on and improve the Affordable Care Act, not repeal it.
During a CNN debate Monday night, Graham said he still stands by the bill he co-sponsored.
We're going to press on, and it's okay to vote. It's okay to fall short, if you do, for an idea you believe in.
The GOP has until the end of the week to push the bill through before it would risk needing 60% of the Senate's votes to pass. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
6:34 now here on this Tuesday. Matt Elwell steps in to join us. Not a bad start to this September morning out there.
Yeah, we don't
Last
have
Tuesday in September, isn't it?
Wow, that's crazy.
Sorry. About that. Reality chat right here.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Reality chat.
Yeah. A little frost on the pumpkin yesterday morning. This morning, not so much. The cloud cover giving us a little relief from some of those cooler temperatures this morning. Into the 40s for most of us. The afternoon should be back up into the 50s. There may be a few sprinkles in our skies to start the day, maybe even into the afternoon. I think the vast majority of the area stays dry. but we are seeing these temperatures warm up. We're going to go outside to the Billion Auto Weather patio here in a few minutes and tell you what the weather's going to be for the day and for the week.
Thank you, Matt. Now 6:35. Our top local story for you now. A much-loved, very well-known Montana lawmaker, Dorothy Eck, passed away over the weekend. She blazed trails and was influential on important legislation on the public's right to know, Native American heritage and education, and the environment. Eck married naval architect Hugo Eck of Anaconda during World War II, and after the war, he became a professor of architecture at MSU. Dorothy spent 20 years in the Montana Senate until her retirement in 2000. She was 93 and passed away in Bozeman on Saturday.
In other news this morning, the Bozeman School Board decided last night that the Emerson Lawn might be put up for sale. Board members voted in favor of a motion that would declare the district portion of the Emerson Lawn unsuitable for school use. DN's Caitlin Corbett was at the meeting.
The school district has a lot of needs, and you know, even though the Emerson has been, you know, grass for a long time, basically from the school district standpoint, that's not the best use of school assets.
The issue of selling the Emerson Lawn, which belongs to the Bozeman School District and is worth more than $2 million, has been a topic of debate in the Bozeman community for the past few years. Tonight, the Bozeman School Board voted on that issue, but not before hearing from some members of the community who are opposed to the parcel's sale.
This particular piece of property unquestionably is a community treasure.
8 others stepped up to share their thoughts against the motion.
My concern is that something that has the institutional value to the Bozeman School District and the cultural value to our community would be sold, and we'd lose some of that character.
In a unanimous decision, the board voted to approve the motion, which declares the lawn unsuitable for school use. This means the board will now take proposals from the community and businesses on what to do with the land, whether that be to sell it or find a way to continue using it as a space for the community.
We anticipate that there may be proposals that come forward that would say, you know, donate or sell or give it at a reduced price to the city or some other nonprofit entity to keep it open. But, you know, the board will have to evaluate that along with any other proposals that we get.
Johnson went on to say the school district anticipates that proposal process could take months. You can read more about that decision on our websites.
And you may experience some delays in your travels beginning this week. The Belgrade South Road construction project has begun. Headed by the company Nelcon, the project will extend along Jackrabbit Lane from East Hulbert Lane to Frank Road. The project will add 2 new lanes to the east side of the road, allowing the south portion of Jackrabbit to become a 4-lane road. Nelcon says that the drivers can expect reduced speeds and lane shifts, but they've changed the design of the project so that people will not have to drive on gravel this winter.
With the help of the state's local highway department and the Butte district, we redesigned the project with their help to keep the traffic on pavement throughout construction, which we're hoping will be a great benefit to the traffic.
The project is expected to be finished by next summer.
Finally.
Yeah.
Oops. The editorial comment brought to you by me. Meantime, in other headlines, if you were not able to watch our Saturday night telethon for the Montana Wildfire Relief Fund, you can watch a replay on kbzk.com. We've had 828 donations to reach over $145,000 with our company MTN match and the Arthur M. Blank Foundation match of $50,000 each. Grand total, more than $245,000. By the way, Wells Fargo donating $22,500, $10,000 of that going into our fundraising. And a mother in Bozeman sent a check. Her son Braden set up a lemonade stand at a recent Bobcat football game. He raised $187.
I just love
that. All the way around. $245,000.
Incredible.
Keep it coming.
And absolutely incredible. And as you mentioned earlier, that's a lot of lemonade. In other news, last night, community members were able to meet with the candidates for the Bozeman City Manager position in a packed City Hall lobby. The 6 candidates spoke to the public about their ideas. Anyone that attended was asked to evaluate each candidate as well. These evaluations will be given to the city commissioners. One attendee that we spoke with said she came to be a part of the process.
So in our interest, just to kind of see where they're from, what their thoughts are, what their focus areas are, what their areas of expertise are, and to be involved in the process.
Wednesday, tomorrow at noon, the city commissioners will decide on what to do next. They could hire one of the candidates. They could extend that process to fill the job. However, Mayor Carson Taylor tells us that the commissioners want to make that hiring decision by the end of September, coming up by the end of this week.
Pretty much.
Yes, absolutely. We're so glad to have you with us here on this Tuesday. And since it is Tuesday, that means when we return, it's time to take a look at a Montana-made product of the week. Featuring this week, a rancher determined to keep bison part of Montana's landscape.
We'll have that for you, but first, let's see what's making news today at the desk in New York. Here's our friend Nora O'Donnell with the latest.
Good morning. Ahead here on CBS This Morning, we're in Puerto Rico with concerns enough isn't being done to get aid to the region where many are struggling with no power, food, or water. And Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella right here in Studio 57. The first thing he changed at the company. We'll see you right at 7.